Welcome back to Crypto Shockwave, the channel where we break down the biggest stories in the XRP world and give you the analysis that actually matters for your portfolio. $154 million. That is how much Goldman Sachs quietly sold. Every single XRP ETF share they owned. Gone. To zero. The largest single institutional holder of XRP ETFs on Wall Street walked away completely. And when that news hit the XRP community, the panic was immediate. The headlines screamed betrayal. The bears called it confirmation. Retail investors started asking one question. If Goldman Sachs does not believe in XRP, why should I? But here is what almost nobody told you about what happened next. The market did not collapse. The market did not even flinch. Because while Goldman was selling $154 million worth of XRP, somebody else was buying $214 million. $214 million in the same week. And today, I am going to show you exactly who bought Goldman's entire position, and $60 million more on top of it, and why that number changes everything you think you know about where XRP goes next. Stay with me. So let us start with exactly what Goldman Sachs did, because the headlines buried the most important part of this story. Goldman Sachs filed its Q1 2026 Form 13F with the SEC in mid-May. That filing showed zero XRP ETF holdings as of March 31st. Zero. In Q4 2025, Goldman built a position worth $154 million, spread across 4 XRP ETF products: Bitwise, Grayscale, Franklin Templeton, and 21 shares. At its peak, that position represented nearly 73% of all known institutional XRP ETF holdings on Wall Street. 73%. One institution, holding nearly 3/4 of every institutional XRP ETF dollar in existence. And then, in 1 quarter, it was gone. The same filing also showed Goldman closing its entire Solana ETF position, cutting Ethereum ETF exposure by 70%, and trimming Bitcoin ETF holdings. Although Goldman still holds approximately $700 million in Bitcoin ETFs, this was not a small portfolio adjustment. This was a deliberate institutional reset. But wait, because here is what every single mainstream headline completely missed. And this is the number that changes the entire story. The same week Goldman's 13F filing landed, the same week the XRP community was processing the $154 million exit, XRP spot ETFs recorded $60.5 million in net inflows. $60.5 million. The largest single weekly inflow of 2026. Not the worst week for XRP ETFs, the best week of the entire year. So let me do that math for you right now. Goldman sold $154 million. ETFs still ended the week $60.5 million positive. That means total buying demand in that single week exceeded $214 million in 7 days. Nobody rang a bell at the bottom, but somebody with $214 million showed up anyway, and Goldman Sachs is not that somebody. Now let me show you why that $214 million matters more than Goldman's exit, because this is where most channels stop the story, but we are going deeper. Goldman Sachs held 73% of institutional XRP ETF exposure at its peak. Think about what that means. One institution represented nearly 3/4 of the entire institutional bid. That is not diversified institutional adoption. That is concentration risk. And here is the extraordinary part. When that concentration unwound completely, cumulative XRP ETF inflows did not collapse. They reached $1.39 billion. $1.39 billion. Since the November 2025 launch, total net assets across 5 active spot XRP ETFs now sit at $927 million. The Goldman exit did not break the market. It revealed something far more powerful underneath it. A bid that is wider, deeper, and more distributed than any single institution. Stop right there, because I need to show you what is happening right now, today, June the 11th, that makes Goldman's exit completely irrelevant to what comes next. The Clarity Act Senate floor vote window opened today. June the 15th to June the 18th is the confirmed window. And here's the data that most people are sleeping on right now. When XRP broke below $1.10 this week, for the first time since 2024, something happened underneath that chart that almost nobody noticed. Dip buying surged 610%. 610. At the exact moment retail was panicking, at the exact moment Goldman's exit was making headlines, buyers showed up 610% harder than normal. XRP coins are also leaving exchanges at an accelerating pace, less supply available to sell. While 610% more buyers show up at the lows, follow the money, not the headlines. And right now, the money is telling a completely different story than the headlines. But wait, because there is a second layer to this story that the Goldman headlines buried completely. Ripple's AI agent payment toolkit launched on the XRP ledger this week. On June the 9th, XRP ETFs pulled in $7.44 million in net inflows in a single day. On the same day, the Goldman exit story was trending on social media. And here's the Clarity Act data that should be the top story today. More than 200 organizations, including Coinbase and Ripple, formally demanded a Senate floor vote this week. 200 companies, united, sending the same message, and the Senate responded. The Clarity Act is now on the Senate legislative calendar. The vote window is open. And here's what the last Clarity Act milestone did to XRP price. May the 14th, Senate Banking Committee vote. XRP jumped 28% in hours. That was a committee vote. The full Senate floor vote is now in a 4-day window, starting today. Now let us be completely honest, because I always show you both sides. The bear case is real, and it deserves serious respect. XRP is down 38% year to date. It briefly broke below $1.10 this week, the first time since 2024. Every major moving average is pointing down. The 20-day, the 50-day, the 100-day, the 200-day, all pointing down. Analysts warn a confirmed weekly close below $1.10 opens a further decline of over 20% in the bearish scenario. Polymarket currently prices Clarity Act passage in 2026 at 55%. Kalshi puts pre-August recess approval at just 37%. That means the market is treating this vote as closer to a coin flip than a certainty. And if the vote is delayed past the August recess, Senator Cynthia Lummis warned this bill may not return until 2030. You must respect that risk. But here's the reframe. Goldman Sachs sold 154 million. The market bought 214 million in the same week. Dip buying at the lows surged 610%. The Clarity Act window opens today. Gradual, then sudden. That is how every major move in this market has started. And right now, the gradual part has been running for 6 months. The sudden part has a 4-day window to arrive. So what are the 3 signals you must watch in the next 4 days? Signal 1. Watch for a Senate floor vote announcement from Majority Leader John Thune. The moment a floor vote date is officially confirmed during the June 15th to June 18th window, XRP will move before the vote result is announced. It moved 28% before the committee vote result came in. The announcement is the trigger, not the outcome. If you wait for the vote itself, the price will have already moved. Signal 2. Watch XRP at the $1.10 level on a daily close basis. This is the 2024 support that just held this week. A daily close above $1.10 with recovering volume means the 610% dip buyers are holding the line. A daily close below $1.10 on heavy volume means the bear case toward 90 cents becomes the active scenario. This one level tells you everything. Signal 3. Watch daily XRP ETF inflow numbers against the Goldman baseline. 7.44 million on June the 9th was the institutional signal. If daily inflows stay consistently positive through the Clarity Act window, the bid that absorbed 214 million from Goldman is still active. If inflows turn negative for 3 consecutive days during the vote window, the institutional conviction has left, and the bears will be proven right. Let me bring this home for you now. Goldman Sachs sold $154 million of XRP. The market bought $214 million in the same week. XRP briefly broke below $1.10 for the first time since 2024, and dip buying surged 610% at the lows. 1.39 billion in cumulative ETF inflows since November. 200 companies demanding a Senate vote, and the Clarity Act floor vote window opening today. Goldman left, but $214 million of demand showed up to replace it. And now the most important vote in XRP history has a 4-day window. The bears have the chart, the bulls have the bid, and the Senate has 4 days to decide which one wins. If this video gave you the clarity you needed, hit that like button right now, and share this with one XRP holder who saw the Goldman headline and panicked. because they need to see the $214 million number before they make any decision. If you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications, because the next video we are dropping could be the most important one you ever watch. Stay wise, stay positioned. I will see you in the next one.